Sam and his father are playing basketball in Utah, their hometown. His father tells him to pick up an art student from New York at the airport. This girl is the daughter of the father's regional manager. She is coming to the city to show her art pieces in an exhibition by her grandmother, so he asks his son to show her the sights and then take the girl home. But Sam is not convinced. Therefore, the father gives him some money to take her out. He also lends him his convertible Mustang and his son accepts. The guy is thinking of having a light dinner, staying at home early, and keeping the money left. Once at the airport, we know about the girl, Charlene Riley. She is an elegant girl from a wealthy family, and when she steps out of the plane, she receives a phone call from Mark, her fiancé. This guy is calling from New York and asks her to get married. But Charlene seems not interested, so he asks about the guy who is taking her home, and she asks if he is jealous. Then, she meets Sam, who is holding a big sign with her name on it. She hangs up, telling Mark that he has nothing to worry about. When they meet, Sam is impressed by Charlene's beauty, but the girl asks if her father sent him, and explains to him she is practically engaged. She then claims that her father does not approve of her boyfriend, so she thinks that is why he's sending handsome guys to pick her up. At that moment, Charlene approaches Sam and with a provocative look tells him that her father's plan is working, but Sam is perplexed. Sam invites her to see the city, but she remarks she is not available. When they reach the car, Charlene shows enthusiasm about the Mustang, and while Sam is loading her luggage in the trunk, she starts the engine and the guy gets inside the car. The girl drives fast and recklessly, which makes Sam a little nervous. He asks Charlene to slow down, but she tells him to relax, and says if she can drive in New York, she can drive anywhere. She also asks him to call her Charlie, instead of Charlene. She then stops at a park where there is a Ferris wheel. They buy several tickets and get on, but before they start the ride, Charlie tells the old clerk that Sam just proposed to her and that they are going to get married. Although Sam denies it, the old man doesn't seem to hear him and congratulates them anyway. Once on the Ferris wheel, Charlie asks why he wouldn't marry her, and Sam simply replies that they don't know each other. Besides, he adds he does not even know what he wants in a woman. But he is sure that when he loves someone he will realize it, get married, and stay married. Charlie then asks if that means until death, but Sam, in fact, means forever, which makes the girl feel tender, so she hopes he finds someone. On the next day at Charlie's home, her parents Eddie and Claire talk about the guy their daughter is seeing. The father refers to Mark as captain, not commitment. He is not pleased with him. But the conversation is interrupted by Sam, who shows up at the front door, and Charlie's grandmother points out that she didn't know that the boy who comes to see her granddaughter was pretty handsome. The girl introduces Sam to her family. She says he has always lived there and he is a Mormon. Although mom and dad are not so happy, her grandmother really likes the boy and shows her enthusiasm. He is there to show Charlie the city, but it seems that she does that only to bother her parents. That night, Charlie and Sam are having dinner in a restaurant. The man asks her why she invited him out, to which she responds it was because of his magnetic personality. Sam then says she is the oddest woman he has ever known. She always lies, has no respect, and messes all around. At that time, the girl confesses that she feels intrigued by him, a grown man that still believes in fairy tales. But Sam states that is not that way. He strongly believes in the happily ever after. Next, we see they spend a lot of time together. They go fishing, take rides, visit art galleries, and spend a day with Sam's family. Charlie gets slowly charmed by Sam's attitude. They start getting closer little by little. One day Sam shows the girl the missionary fields, and he explains that they collect the harvest and store it. He tries to convince her about God's existence, but she shows skepticism. She affirms that she does not believe in that and is surprised that someone as smart as him can believe it. Sam insists on praying, so he kneels and asks Charlie to do the same to pray with him. She does so but is still skeptical and leaves, saying that he is crazy. At home with her grandma, Charlie is working on a painting to be exhibited. But the old lady mentions that artwork is just an exercise, that she could paint something wonderful but has to reflect her feelings on the canvas. At Sam's house, the girl is watching portraits of the boy when he was a child, and while saying how nice he looked, she gets stuck in a conversation with Sam's mother. The woman tells Charlie some embarrassing, funny stories about her son. She says that once her son told her she wasn't acting like a lady because she was singing and dancing in the kitchen. Even as a child, Sam was very traditional. When Charlie gets home, her father is there, but they barely exchange words, and the man leaves. Her grandma has a surprise for her. According to the old lady, the girl will love. That surprise is Mark. He is ready on the other side of the computer screen for a video call, but far from being happy, the girl is loathed. Mark says he wanted to see her beautiful face, and shows her some templates of wedding invitations with their names on them. The girl is not satisfied at all, so she asks him how long he will feel that way towards her, but Mark's silly answer is, until the stars fall and the earth stops spinning. However, Charlie is being serious. She really wants to know if he believes in the happily ever after. But Mark answers that's a cliche. He thinks that life is for fun and you have to take the chances in the best way. But the girl is confused. On one side, she likes the idea of spending her life with someone she truly loves, but on the other hand, is not sure that really exists. One day, Sam invites Charlie to go fishing. The girl finds the tranquility boring, so she starts to speak loudly and bothers Sam and the rest of the people there. Then, she takes a fishing rod and catches a fish just by luck, so she gives a mocking speech about how to fish. But this makes Sam uncomfortable, and admits that he feels embarrassed with her. Then Charlie wets Sam and challenges him to a water fight, but the guy doesn't react, which makes the girl think that he is very serious. She tells him that he doesn't even laugh, but the man responds that he laughs responsibly. But Charlie insists on making him react, so she takes his phone and threatens to throw it into the water, and although Sam doesn't believe her, she does it. In an attempt to avoid it, the boy ends up falling into the water with the phone. After that, they both go to a store to see if the phone can be fixed. The girl says she is not guilty, but Sam is truly upset. While he is at the counter talking to the shop assistant, Charlie's voice comes from the loudspeakers saying that is his mommy and embarrassing him again. He heads to the entrance and Charlie is there with a popcorn bag for him, but instead of taking it, Sam lifts the girl and carries her on his shoulder. Back at home, Charlie realizes that she may be feeling something for Sam. She phones Mark, but he does not answer, so she leaves a voice message asking him to call back. Then she visits the Museum of Fine Arts, where she watches different religious paintings, and most of them the figure of Jesus is present. But the one that draws her attention the most is a painting of Jesus Christ crucified, which she sees amazed. She feels such a strong connection that makes her pray. She takes this visit as inspiration for her paintings. When she returns home, she sends Mark another voice message warning him she won't be at home. Now in the boat, both Charlie and Sam are spending a day fishing alone. They seem distant until the boy says she doesn't talk much about church, since they tried to pray together. The girl then tells him that she had a tour of the museum and took lessons to learn more about his church. She also mentions that reads Mormon books, which takes Sam by surprise, so he excitedly asks her what she thinks. Charlie explains that even though she comes from a completely different background and considers herself an intellectual, she ends up believing the story. Sam is so delighted that he leaps up and with a broad smile on his face, shouts from the rooftops that it is a miracle. He cannot be happier, but the girl is still reluctant to accept her beliefs. She claims that her family will think she has gone completely crazy, but Sam encourages her to pray for them. Charlie then adds that she is not doing that because of him. She does feel things when she reads the books. She affirms she is praying and someone is listening to her prayers. When Charlie arrives home, she finds her grandma playing a solitaire card game. The old woman tells her parents are worried for her and that she doesn't believe in the Mormons' way of living. However, the wise lady supports her granddaughter by saying that she can do whatever she wants, as long as she does it for the right reasons. Charlie thanks her and adds that she feels right doing it. Next, we see how she is baptized and feels wonderful with this new clean slate. She asks Sam if he believes it, but the guy says that he does not believe it. He knows it. Nevertheless, problems appear when Mark gets home and listens to the voice messages, not only Charlie's but also one from Eddie. Charlie's father tells Mark that his daughter is seeing someone, and he must go to Utah to solve this situation, so he rushes there. In another scene, we see how in love Sam and Charlie are. They share a lovely look, and with a few chuckles in between, they kiss each other for the first time. Now in the art exhibit, Charlie bumps into an old friend from school. The friend is impressed to see Charlie in Utah, but she explains that she is there to visit someone, and is thinking of making it permanent. The girl asks if she has convinced Mark to come there. Charlie says he is in New York, but Sam hears the whole conversation and is confused. Then, the guy asks Charlie if she is living with someone, but she answers she already told him that she was almost engaged. Sam is worried about the other guy. He wants to know if he is aware of their relationship. But at that precise instant, Charlie's parents appear accompanied by Mark, who greets Charlie with a lovely kiss on her lips, right in front of poor Sam, who is perplexed. The girl introduces each other, but the situation is so tense that Sam decides to leave, but Charlie follows him. Sam cannot believe Charlie did that to him. The girl tries to fix things. She says she had a life before she met him, but she is now different thanks to Sam, who showed her a new way of living. Charlie adds that she loves him and asks what he wants, but the guy remains speechless. Then he says he does not know what he wants, so the girl leaves, dropping some tears. At home, Sam tells his mother that Charlie wasn't honest with him and she had a past. The woman explains to him that most people have it, and although she did that, she has recently made a lot of changes. The boy points out that does not change the fact that she was unfaithful, but his mother strongly disagrees. She says that maybe she didn't understand the connection between intimacy and eternal commitment, and adds that if his feelings towards her have changed, now he knows about her past, Charlie is better off without him. His mother's words get stacked in Sam's mind. While going for a walk, he remembers his best moments with Charlie, so he decides to see her. But when he comes back to the exhibit, it has already finished and he finds Charlie's grandmother instead. The old lady tells Sam that after he left, Charlie did the same, but she flew to New York. So without a second thought, the boy goes to the airport and takes a flight there. Now in New York City, Sam goes to her beloved Charlie's building and he is not allowed to enter. But he manages to sneak into it, and when he gets to Charlie's apartment, he sees that Mark is right there, arguing with the girl who is in the other side of the door. Mark sees Sam is there, and when Charlie opens the door to kick Mark out, she is surprised to see Sam, so she asks what he is doing there. The boy apologizes and tells the girl he was wrong, but Charlie does not give him great importance, which hurts Sam. He insists on saying that he is sorry, he traveled 2,000 miles just to see her, but she just accepts the apology and shuts the door. Sam puts his face against the door and says that he loves her too. On the other side, Charlie listens to him attentively. She opens the door again, but Sam has already left. Then Mark asks Charlie for an explanation, because his feelings towards her haven't changed. The girl claims that she is not the same person she was before. Mark is comprehensive and leaves. At the same time, Sam remains in New York waiting for Charlie. He wanders through the streets of the city, and one night he sees a souvenir of a Ferris wheel in a shop that reminds him the day they met for the first time. One day she takes a taxi and he follows Charlie to her art class. There he approaches the girl and says he is not upset anymore. He forgives her and does not care about her past. But these words are not the best, so Charlie tells him to go away. Before he leaves, Sam states that he wants to be part of her life, but Charlie says that he couldn't handle her past, and that life is too short and hard to not feel safe with someone you love. That night, Charlie arrives home and finds Mark is there. He surprises her with a romantic dinner, candles, and fine wine, but the girl is not pleased at all. Mark tries to seduce Charlie by leaning on her to kiss her, but she rejects him. However, the man is persistent and insists again, but Charlie denies kissing him. He then claims that even though Charlie affirms she has changed, he believes the girl hasn't. After a third kissing try, Charlie ceases, but from the street, Sam is watching the whole scene, and when he sees this, he manages to get inside the building and the guards chase him. After the kiss, Charlie asks Mark to leave, but at that moment, Sam shows up and says that she can't marry Mark and that she is the woman of his dreams. Mark mocks him, but Charlie feels really touched by his words. The guards come, catch Sam, and take him away. Now Mark and Charlie are alone. The woman apologizes for the whole situation, but Mark says it was fine while it lasted. Sam is sent to trial, but the judge says that everything will be forgiven if he goes back to Utah immediately. But before leaving, he puts the Ferris wheel from the shop just in front of Charlie's door with the tickets from the day he met her. One day, Sam is sitting on a bench in the park of the Ferris wheel when he sees Charlie. She approaches him and says she is sorry. Then she explains to him that she and God are very close now, and that she has been talking about him with the Lord. Charlie tells Sam that despite being heartbroken, she is still in love with him. Sam pauses to admire her pretty face and says that he loves her, to which Charlie replies with a warm smile saying that they may be forever together. The guy chuckles and kisses his beloved Charlie softly. They get married to live there happily ever after, and later on, they have a little beautiful son. They are now a happy family. While having dinner, Charlie teaches her son to say mama, but he only says dada, which charms Sam, who makes fun of his wife. Once the baby sleeps, Sam asks about a painting Charlie is working on. The woman says that is a painting about Christ. Her husband claims that he looks depressed, but that is what Charlie intends, because he has just lost his friend Lazarus. Then they have a friendly discussion because the woman does not have a painting studio, so she has to work in the kitchen. They fool and joke around, and when Sam tries to lift his wife up, she suffers from back pain but says it is only a sore muscle because she is tired. At the supermarket, Charlie spots a gossipy old woman, so she convinces her husband to tease her by acting like an arguing couple. They keep up the joke for a few minutes until Charlie bursts out laughing, but this funny moment is interrupted by a pain in Charlie's back. This time is much stronger than last time, and although the woman says she is alright, her husband affirms she is not, and that has nothing to do with the sore muscle. At the hospital, Charlie undergoes some studies that yield as a result of a terminal disease in her pancreas, and can possibly spread to the rest of the body. The doctor explains to Sam that his wife has not much time left, because the treatment is rarely effective in those cases, so Charlie is near to reaching eternal sleep. While lying in the hospital bed, Charlie feeds her child. Sam approaches and encourages her to keep on fighting. He affirms that people beat that illness all the time, but Charlie says that the doctors claim there's nothing to do. Sam, reluctant to accept the reality, tells her that he will give her a blessing and God will do the rest. But we all know how these things actually work. One night, Charlie is sitting on the couch with her baby when Sam comes and asks what she is doing. She is thinking of her son. She will never know what he'll look like when he grows up. Sam encourages her not to give up, but she is not giving up. The woman points out that she wants to be at home with her family, instead of being tethered in a cold hospital bed. Charlie starts to assume what's going to happen, but Sam is not ready yet. He is still hoping that their faith will help them, so his wife proposes a deal. She will undergo the treatments, and if it works and starts feeling better, she will continue doing it, but if not, she will quit. As expected, the treatments are not effective and Charlie gets worse. Now Charlie is lying in bed playing cards with her grandma. The old lady points out how much Sam loves her, but the girl says there's no point, because she can't reach him. The wise old lady mentions that it has nothing to do with her. He just acts that way because he's frightened of losing his beloved wife. Charlie goes to the room where Sam is and finds him painting, but she doesn't understand what's going on. Sam says it is a painting studio for her, so the girl reminds her husband that she hasn't much time left. But Sam is unwilling to accept that. He relies on God's promises and their long-lasting faith. But Charlie tells him that God never promised to cure her, only that they could love each other forever. In an uncontrolled fit of rage driven by his sadness and fear, Sam throws things against the wall and breaks down in tears. All he wants is a simple miracle so that his wife can live a life with him and his son. Charlie approaches him and with tears in her eyes tells him that they don't need more time. They have eternity, and who taught her that was him. Besides, in a world where nobody believes in anything, he believed in living happily ever after with her, so they embrace and kiss. One afternoon, Sam arrives home and sees a bunch of cars parked in front of his house. He is confused, but when he sees Charlie, he calms down. The girl tells him she is throwing a party and inviting some friends over. Sam would remember this moment forever. He sees how happy his wife feels that he wants to stop time for the rest of his life. One night, Sam wakes up and realizes that Charlie is not with him in bed, so he looks for her. Then, he listens to his wife crying in the baby's room, and she is calling for her son. The man goes and takes a mattress for her, and while she lies on it, he catches the baby to give it to her. The three of them lie together embraced on that mattress. Nonetheless, Charlie is getting worse as time passes, so during the nights, Sam prays to beg for help and shows how scared of losing Charlie he is. In her last days, Charlie is extremely weak, but she wants to go out, so Sam has to lift her up with his bare arms. They go to see their baby, and at that exact moment, her son calls her mama for the first time. Charlie is touched, and she feels so happy that she cries emotively. Sam drives to the park where some years ago Charlie said they were husband and wife. Carrying her in his arms, they get on the Ferris wheel and enjoy their last ride. Charlie finally leaves this world and is now resting in peace. Sam remembers every moment by her side. At her funeral, Charlie's painting of a depressed Christ is exposed, and Sam gives a speech about how Jesus acted when his friend Lazarus died. Sam explains that Christ did not say that everything would be alright, because it wouldn't. He wept instead, and that's also a way to show love. Sam trusts in that love now. Back at his home, Sam is holding his baby in his arms, enters the room, and leaves him in the crib. There we see that the mattress where Charlie had slept that night, when she called for her baby, is still there. Sam lies down on it and spends the night with his son. The next morning, he wakes up and goes to the shelf where all the memories of Charlie are. Her pictures when she was young, photos of them at their wedding, and even the souvenir of the Ferris wheel that Sam gave her in New York. Next to it, there is an envelope with his name. Sam opens it and reads a note that Charlie left there for him before leaving. On the paper she wrote that the ride is not over yet and that she loves him. Sam is filled with joy as he reads this note. The next thing we see is Sam and his son laughing happily and taking a ride on the Ferris wheel. While having this ride, Sam remembers Charlie's words when they get there for the first time.